Hello students, I'm Priyanka Mehta and I'm working as an assistant professor in Computer Science and Engineering Department of Sangam University, Bhilwara, Rajasthan. So students, today in this video, I'll be discussing about how memory is organized within a computer system. Also, we'll be discussing the hierarchical structure of the memory that will make you understand the importance of various memory devices. It will also give you a broad idea that how memory with different sizes have an important role to play within a computer system. So students, let us first try to understand what is the need or requirement of a memory unit in a computer system. Well, a computer memory is just like a human brain. The things we see, the things we hear, or the things we sense or feel, all this information is stored in our brain or memory. Similarly, in computing, the memory refers to a device that is used to store information for immediate use in a computer system. Well, the memory unit is the most essential component in any digital computer since it is needed to store your program instructions as well as your data. But this information can be stored either on permanent basis or it can be stored on a temporary basis. Now let us understand how this memory is organized. Well, the memory is physically organized as a large number of cells, each of which can store a piece of information. So you can understand in a simple manner that a memory is partitioned into small portions and those small portions are called as cell, and each memory cell has some capacity to store some piece of information. Now, the question arises that when a memory is partitioned into multiple cells, then how a individual cell can be uniquely identified. Now, for that, each memory cell is assigned a unique number which is called its memory address. Now, this memory address varies from 0 to the total memory size minus 1. So, let us first understand this diagrammatic representation which will give you a more clear picture that how this memory is organized. So in this diagram it has been clearly shown that your memory is divided into small cells, and on my left hand side each memory cell has a unique memory address. Now each memory cell also have a capacity of 8 bits where some piece of information can be stored to it. So each memory cell has a numeric address which uniquely identifies a particular memory cell. Also, each memory cell stores some number of bits or some number of bytes. It depends on the computer hardware. Now, data and instructions, they are usually accessed through these memory addresses. Right now, I'll just take one example. Now, let us suppose that if a computer memory capacity is 64 kilobytes, now it means that the memory unit has 64 into 1024, that gives you 65536 memory cells. So basically this memory has total number of 65,536 cells in it where we can store some piece of information. Now each memory cell will have a unique address starting from 0 to 65,535. All right. Now, a memory can also be classified into two basic categories. Now, you must have heard that a memory can be classified into two broad categories, like we have a volatile memory or we have a non-volatile memory. Well, a volatile memory is that memory which will quickly lose its data whenever the power is switched off. So once you have stopped the power supply, the memory will lose its entire data. So that kind of memory is termed as a volatile memory. Now, a non-volatile memory is that memory which is permanent in nature. It means it will not lose its data when power is switched off. That means the data stored in this particular memory is stored on a permanent basis. Now, As we all know that there is not enough space in one memory unit. So every memory unit, they have a limited capacity, they have a limited space. So there is not enough space in any one memory unit to accommodate all your programs or all your data, right? Also, we have seen that many of the computer users, they have this tendency to accumulate large amount of data into the memory. Now, not all the accumulated data is needed by the processor at the same time. So, whatever data you are storing into a computer memory, not all your stored data will be used by the processor at the same time. Hence, it is more economical to use a low cost, high capacity storage devices to back up your large chunk of data which is not currently used by your processor or which is not currently used by your CPU. Hence, the total memory capacity of a computer is usually organized into a hierarchical structure. So basically, this hierarchical structure denotes that the memory have different sizes, and so they have designed a hierarchical structure of your entire memory. It means that the memory with the fastest access speeds and highest cost will lie at the top, whereas those with lowest speeds and hence lowest cost will lie at the bottom. So in my other slides, in my upcoming slides, you will get an idea how this hierarchical structure is organized of a memory system. Now, usually a memory with small capacity will have a fast access speed. Access speed means reading a particular piece of information from the memory. So how fast you can read a particular piece of information from the memory. Naturally, if the capacity of a memory is small, your access time will be very fast. And obviously, if the memory capacity is too large, it will take more time to read any piece of information from that, right? So we have organized the memory of different sizes into this hierarchical structure such that the memory whose access speed is very fast and whose cost is very high is placed at the top of this hierarchy, whereas those memories whose access speed is very low and whose cost is also very low is placed at the bottom of this hierarchy. Now, the memory hierarchy system, it basically consists of all the storage devices which are used in a computer system, from slow but a high capacity auxiliary storage to a relatively faster main memory to an even smaller and faster cache memory. So in this picture, you can understand that we have a CPU processor. Now this processor has an access to three different types of memory. At one end, we have an auxiliary memory, that is your secondary storage. At the other end, we have an access to main memory or primary memory. Also, we can see a small memory, that is the cache memory, which is used between your processor and the main memory. So let's see the hierarchical structure, which will give you a more clear picture. Now within this hierarchical structure, you can see at the top of this pyramid, we have the registers. Next we have cache memory. Next we have main memory. Then we have auxiliary memory, that is your magnetic disk and magnetic tapes. Now in this pyramid structure, when you move from top to down, you'll see the capacity of memory is increasing. Right? Now, the register is a memory whose capacity is least, and the auxiliary memory, which is lying at the bottom of your pyramid, whose capacity is maximum. Now, naturally, if the capacity of a memory will increase, its access time will become very large. So, from a big size memory, if you need to read a piece of information, it will take more amount of time. Obviously, if a memory size or if a memory capacity is small, the time required to read a piece of information will be very less. So naturally, its access time will be less in case of a small size memory, and the access time to read any piece of information from a large size memory will be very large. So I'll discuss the first memory unit, which is placed at the top of this pyramid, that is CPU registers. Now these are also known as internal processor memory. So these are the registers which are available within your processor, and they are also known as internal processor memory. Now, the data or instructions which has to be executed are kept in these registers. So whenever a processor is executing an instruction or operating on some data, so that immediate data will be kept into these registers while the operation is taking place. Now, few characteristics I have listed out. Obviously, since it is placed at the top of this pyramid, it naturally means that these registers are very fast. Almost its access time is approximately equal to 1 nanosecond. It is very small in size, which is approximately equals to 512 bytes, and it is very expensive. Next, we have a cache memory. Now, it is also a very small piece of high speed but a volatile memory. Volatile memory because its data will be lost when the power is turned off. So it is a very small piece of memory which is lying between the processor and your main memory. Now, this memory is used to hold only those parts of data and instructions which are most frequently used or required by your CPU. Now, by simply making such data and program available at a rapid rate will automatically increase the performance of your computer system. Fine. Now, the characteristics of this cache memory is, again, this memory is very fast because its size is small. Hence, its access time is approximately equals to 10 nanosecond. Again, this memory is small in size, but this memory is very expensive, which is roughly equals to $150 per megabyte. Next, we have main memory. Now, this is the only memory which can have a direct communication with your processor. So main memory is the memory where we are going to have our data and instructions on which a CPU is currently working. So all those your data or instructions which are currently under execution by the CPU will have to be in your main memory unit. Now, this memory is also a volatile memory. It again has limited capacity and it is not as fast as your registers. Fine. So few characteristics. This memory is fast but not as fast as your registers or cache memory, and its access time is approximately equals to 100 nanosecond. Definitely it is large, but it is not larger than your auxiliary memory. It is roughly, nowadays your main memory is coming roughly, it is equals to 8 GB or 12 GB RAM approximately. It is inexpensive. Roughly it is equals to $0.58 per MB. The last we have, that is the auxiliary memory. Now, this type of non-volatile memory, see, this is the only memory which is of non-volatile nature. It means your data will be stored on a permanent basis. Hence, whenever you need to make a backup of your data or backup of your instructions or programs, you can make use of your volatile, non-volatile memory, that is your auxiliary memory. So basically, this memory is used to provide a backup storage, and it is used for storing your data or information permanently. The most common auxiliary memory devices which is used in computer systems are your magnetic disks and tapes. They are used to store system programs, large data files, and other important backup information can be stored within this memory unit. Now, this memory is not directly accessible to CPU and it is accessed using I/O channels. So, the information stored in the auxiliary memory are first transferred to the main memory for the CPU to access it. So, a processor cannot read a piece of information directly from this auxiliary memory. So whatever data a processor demands will have to be loaded from your auxiliary memory into the main memory, and from main memory the processor is going to read or access the data. Right? Few characteristics are, this memory is slow or very slow, whose access time is roughly equals to 10 microsecond to seconds. Right? So as I have already told you that since the size or capacity of this memory is very large, hence it takes a lot of time to read a piece of information from this memory. Hence, it has been said that whenever a processor needs to access some data, that data will be loaded from your auxiliary storage to the main memory. So this memory is very large. Roughly it is equals to 2 TB, 2 PBs approximately, and it is very inexpensive. So whatever we have discussed till now, I guess this diagram is making things quite clear to you all. So this is the hierarchical structure. Again, it has given that on left hand side, you will find all your memory devices starting from CPU registers. Then we have cache, then your main memory, hard disk, and any offline storages like your tape drives, disks, and all. Now, cost wise, if you will see, the cost decreases from top to bottom, right? Now what about the access speed? The access speed of these memory will increase from bottom to up. It means the registers are the fastest, then we have cache, then we have main memory, and then we have the auxiliary memory. Similarly, if we talk about the cost part, the cost for CPU registers is highest, then it is for cache, then RAM, and then your auxiliary memory. Likewise, if I talk about size, then down the pyramid, if you'll move, the size will go on increasing. So auxiliary memory will have the maximum size and registers will have the smallest size. So thank you students. This was all about the organization of memory unit within a computer system. Now in my later videos, I'll be discussing more in detail about the main memory. That is, I'll be discussing about RAM and ROM chips, as well as I'll be taking cache memory in detail. So if you have any queries or any questions related to today's video, you can simply drop your queries on my mail ID. My mail ID is priyanka.mehta@sangamuniversity.ac.in. So feel free to drop your queries. I'll be there to sort it out, to solve it for you all. Thank you very much. Have a nice day. Stay happy and stay safe.